Howdy there, y'all. Quick couple of things to note. First off, yes, this episode is very short. You'll see why. Secondly, Laurel had a bit of a hiccup with her microphone on this one. I fixed it the best I could. Hello and welcome to the Weeb Years, a mistake that we made and now we're suffering through the consequences. My name is Beanie.
Hi, I'm Laurel, and speaking of mistakes, boy, have we got one for you this week.
Well, yeah, this is the mistake. That's the bit.
Oh, I thought you were saying the whole podcast was a mistake.
It is now, after this.
I think it already was after AkiCon.
So, it's funny you mentioned that, because technically, AkiCon was the impetus for this whole thing. For full context, back when we recorded the AkiCon episode, we were very surprised to find that despite the giant pile of garbage that it was rated shockingly high on my anime list. I want to say it was like a 7 something, which did not feel right at all. But while we were looking into it, we got curious and we were like, what is the worst rated thing on my anime list? What is considered the worst anime of all time? And we discovered a little OVA from 2004 called Tenkuu Danzai, Skelter+Heaven.
Yes, I saw a lot of people comparing it to Mars of Destruction, which I have not seen, but when I brought it up to a friend that I was watching the worst anime of all time, they said, oh, Mars of Destruction? So we're gonna have to watch that at some point.
I don't know about that. The reason why you see people comparing them isn't just because they're both really, really bad. They're actually from the same guy.
Oh, do you mean the anime or the original games they're from? Because I saw that both of them were originally visual novels.
I think both, actually.
Fascinating.
So, getting this over with, solid information on this thing is hard to find, but in November of 2004, Tenkuu Danzai Skelter+Heaven, or Aerial Condemnation Skelter+Heaven, as the translated title, was released in Japan. It was a dating sim made by Design Factory, a subsidiary of the publisher Idea Factory. The game was mostly your typical visual novel fare, with occasional animated cutscenes and light shooter elements. In it, you played as Otsuya Funagai, the leader of a group of otherwise all-female mech pilots in their fight to protect the Earth from alien invaders, or something like that. Again, information on this is scarce at best, and some things seem to contradict others. Unsurprisingly, this game never got released outside of Japan. A month later, in December of 2004, an 18-minute OVA based on the game was released as promotional material, directed by a man named Yoshiteru Sato, who is apparently infamous for directing a number of the lowest-rated anime of all time. We already mentioned Mars of Destruction, but if you look on my anime list, his highest-rated work is something called Kingdom of Chaos, Born to Kill, with an impressive 5.24.
Incredible! Holy shit! Do you think that keeps him up at night? Or do you think he's proud of it?
I don't know how true any of this is, but from what I understand, he's one of those directors where the reason why his stuff sucks is because he's incapable of realizing his stuff sucks. I think he thinks that he's a masterpiece maker, and everyone else is wrong.
Oh no!
Now, it's very clear that the only reason anyone knows this thing even exists is because it is the lowest rated thing on my anime list. In a twisted, fucked up way, its failure is what has allowed it to persist.
I mean, there is a whole demographic for so bad it's good cult classics, so I completely understand why people would be watching this. Because if I wasn't doing this podcast, I would probably still go and watch this. I went to a party where we watched Garzy's Wing.
Oh yeah, like watching bad stuff on purpose because it's funny is a whole culture in and of itself. What I mean is that, like, if this was the 10th worst anime on Mal, I don't think anyone would know what it was. Because it is literally the worst rated thing on the site, I think that is why people know about it.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from with that.
The only place we could find to watch this with English subtitles was a 360p YouTube upload, so just keep that in mind as we talk about it. As the OVA starts, we are gifted with a whole 65-second long, slow panning shot of the Earth while listening to what sounds like Darth Vader's heartbeat in the background.
It sounds like if you were to put a stethoscope up to someone and listen to their heartbeat.
We then hard cut to a news broadcast informing people about an unknown object appearing over Tokyo before abruptly jumping into the OP. Now this is where
the OP's the
things
best
started
part.
to become clear. I didn't look up anything about this beforehand. I just knew, worst rated thing on Mal, found a place that I could watch it, and I started watching. As I'm watching the OP, I'm thinking to myself, oh god, this looks like a terrible visual novel. And then as I kept watching, I had this thought creeping in the back of my head, like, something about this feels off. And then afterwards I go and look and, oh no, this is based on a terrible visual novel.
I kind of figured, because in that little opening they give you the heights and weights of all the girls, and I was like, why the fuck are you telling us these characters' weights?
Yeah, it's like a character select screen, almost. And also, the art style that they use in the opening is very like if you think a visual novel from the mid-2000s, the art style that you're picturing in your head, that is the art style that all these girls are rendered in. The anime itself is more traditionally animated for the time period, but for the opening, I could see it and I was like, this reminds me of something.
The way that I would describe the animation, I think
bad.
I said this to my wife. It feels like the whole time it's gearing up to be a hentai, but there's no sex at any point.
Oh yeah, no, it's very hentai quality. It's bad.
It looks like a low-budget hentai.
It's real bad. So, taking a peek behind the curtain, this thing that we're calling an OVA is actually more of a supercut of the different cutscenes from the game.
Oh!
Which explains a lot of the wild editing choices and jump cuts that we are forced to sit through. I will say, capping off talking about the OP, the song ain't bad. It's not great, but it's not terrible.
Yeah, the OP is like the one decently made thing. I don't know, decent might be a bit generous.
No, it is. It's decent. I think the song is decent.
Well,
I would willingly listen to it again.
The song is fine. I mean, the culmination of the animation and the choices and the music itself.
That's fair, yeah.
I'd also like to state that I think I had a migraine when I watched it. I think after I watched this, I just went and laid down because I could not keep functioning. The sound mixing in this is terrible off the bat.
Oh, it's so bad.
It starts with the heartbeat sounds. And then immediately you have a news broadcast that is fucking blaring out your ears if you were trying to hear what the heartbeat was.
Every scene with sound effects, which is not as many scenes as it should be, every time there is a sound effect, it is at the same volume level as the characters speaking. It's horrible. And of course, every sound effect they choose is either a horrible screeching alarm noise or the most disappointing thunk and collision sounds that you've ever heard. There's a scene where a girl is firing an arrow at a target, and when it hits the target, it's just like thunk.
I didn't even pick up on that sound effect because I think I was watching it with speakers on, and I was just turning the volume up and down to try to not blast my ears out and blast the whole house out.
We get shown a few teaser shots of the giant alien monster, which at first I thought looked like a giant evil Christmas tree, before introducing us to our two main characters, generic boy man and love interest girl. They talk about nothing of consequence for a bit, before quickly showing off the other girls on the team who are even less important.
So the invader, I don't think is ever given a name.
No.
It seems like everyone just calls them squids.
It does become much more squid-like later on, but at first I was just like, oh, evil Christmas tree.
It's still kind of shaped like a squid's head.
Yeah, it becomes much more clearly squid when it actually gets the squid tentacles. There's also some old commander dude who screams, "I'm secretly evil," in basically every shot he's in, but nothing ever happens with that. Generic boy man and definitely evil talk about the Christmas tree for a minute before it cuts over to a couple of the girls training in their mech suits on the front lawn. The mechs are bad. They're forced to sit in them like a Catholic schoolgirl being told to keep an aspirin between her knees. And okay, I will actually say, I will give it some credit. I'm going to try and be nice where I can. The mech designs aren't actually terrible. There are parts of the mech design that I like. The cockpits are what's bad. They
fully
look bad
exposed.
sitting in them. Yeah, they're fully exposed. It's bad from like an actual combat design, but also just from a visual design. It looks bad when they're sitting in them. And it's just like the whole torso of the thing. The rest of the mech actually looks kind of cool, but the bad cockpit part is like 50% of the design. So cumulatively, it is not a good look.
They look like you went to like a market of some sort and you were perusing the anime figures and you found one with super bootleg Code Geass figures, but they just look nothing like the actual models. Like, you know how you go and you find the really, really shitty Pokemon ones?
Oh yeah, the ones that are always in like a little bucket at the front counter.
And they're in like the plastic wrap, yeah. I collect those, I love them. The worse they are, the more I get them.
Also, as another shout out to the OVA's terrible sound design, in this sequence there's a moment where one of the girls brings the mech's arms down on another girl, and you hear the lightest little thunk, which is followed by the girl who just got hit saying, "Haha, you're so forceful, Misaki." Forceful? Is that what that was?
This whole scene is a dumpster fire. This is the scene that made me realize, oh, this is a dating sim. Because you watch like a bunch of girls just for no reason who have not been introduced fighting each other while saying flirtatious things.
And also, this is the most egregious part in the whole fucking thing. There is a 9-second long segment while these girls are fighting with 11 fucking jump cuts in 9 seconds. It's so bad.
Yeah, this scene is a lot.
Again, I think a lot of the awkward cuts can be blamed on the fact that in-game they probably would have transitioned into gameplay and such. This, I don't think, has any excuse. It's just bad. It's just really bad.
Man, I wonder how it compares to the original game.
I did find a Let's Play. There doesn't seem to be not even like an English fan patch, unsurprisingly, but I did find a Let's Play of the game, and it looks about equivalent quality.
Well, at least this is only 20 minutes and not 30 hours.
Yeah. We then have another abruptly hard cut. This director has zero clue how to transition between scenes. This time to love interest girl taking a shower. Considering the character designs, I was actually surprised by how non-sexual the shower scene was. But then the very next shot is two of the other girls getting strapped into what I call the sex chairs.
It's like you combined a Symbian and a massage chair.
Sybian.
Sybian?
Sybian.
Isn't that what I said?
You said Symbian.
Oh.
I realized on like my third watch that what it's supposed to be is they're training for like G-forces, but the sounds that they are making are so hentai, it catches you incredibly off guard.
It doesn't look like it's zero G either. It looks like a moving chair.
Not zero G-forces, like the force of being whipped around as you're flying.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing.
Zero G is something else.
Oh, I didn't know those were separate things.
Everyone assembles in the control room to discuss the plan for fighting the Christmas tree, and it's hilariously boring, though we do get probably my favorite line in the whole thing, where generic boy man says, "If you don't complete this mission, you will not have another one." Yeah, because you'll be fucking dead.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was actually that funny or if I was just fishing for any morsel of entertainment to be had, but I cracked the fuck up at that line.
I think it's the latter, because I did not find that funny. I didn't even pick up on it.
Also worth noting is that this entire scene has incredibly obnoxious bleeps and bloops happening in, again, what should be the background, but the sound mixing is horrible and they're the same volume as the voice acting.
There's some parts where it's genuinely just really difficult to hear them speaking at all. Terrible sound design.
It's a really good thing that we have subtitles. The Christmas tree grows tentacles, and turns out it was actually supposed to be a squid the entire time. Motherfucker looks like the blooper boss from Super Mario Sunshine.
Merry Squidmas!
The blooper wipes out a bunch of faceless military, and then on their way to suit up for the big fight, there's this completely devoid of emotion scene where Blondie McBoobs confronts generic boy man about getting passed over for leader in favor of love interest girl.
Uh-oh, the girls are fighting! Uh-oh!
Oh no, there's interpersonal conflict, we think.
It's so emotionless. There is so little sincerity in this show.
I'm hard pressed to call it a show. It's not even a movie. This mistake. It is very amusing because Blondie McBoobs is like, I'm gonna prove I'm better than her, which becomes hilarious because she's the first one to die.
I didn't put that together. I didn't realize until I rewatched it that people were dying because it's cut so poorly.
Again, I watched it 5 fucking times before I think I actually understood what was going on.
I watched it once, then I read about a bunch of people talking about watching it, and then I rewatched it. That's usually my strategy if I don't understand an episode.
Good strategy. There's a very disappointing suit-up sequence before the mechs all fly off to fight the blooper, with generic boy man following in a jet, and as you'd expect, it's all just a bunch of stiff and janky bad CG with more awkward and abrupt cuts. Blondie McBoobs shoots the blooper with a bazooka, only to get bitch slapped out of the sky and dies. Oops.
Oopsie. Now, I kind of want to comment on the way that the mechs move because it is some of the laziest animation I've ever seen. They slide along the ground and not in a fun way like Code Geass.
I will say, I did see some people complaining about... No, the mechs are bad, you're right. But I did see some people complaining about the animation of the blooper and saying that it was too stiff and minimal.
Yeah.
Weirdly, I kind of liked the blooper. I liked how stiff and, like, barely moving it was. Something about... I've seen this in a few other shows where it's, like, 2D animation, but then the monster is 3D. And, like, even if it's, like, really bad CGI, something about that, I think, to me... sells the notion that this thing is otherworldly and alien, the fact that it is animated fully in a different way from the rest of the show.
Yeah.
The way it just, like, slowly floats across the city, like someone is just dragging the model through the modeling program. To my brain, it sells it as this, like, ethereal alien being. In a weird way, it kind of works because of how shitty it is.
You know why it works?
Why?
Because it's achieving the Uncanny Valley effect.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure it's like a lower FPS as well, which is also like a really good trick for making things feel unnatural. But also, I don't think it's intentional in this show.
Now, after Blondie McBoobs gets killed, what follows is an absolutely incredible scene where love interest girl is like, we have to go help her! And generic boy man says, no, stay on mission. To which love interest girl's reaction is to scream at the top of her lungs like she just saw a snake in the bathtub.
Not that scary.
I mean, we like snakes, but it was so fucking funny.
It's really
Every
raw.
single time. A lot of the rewatches that I did, I was showing them to other people, like, you gotta check this out, you gotta see how bad this is. Every single time we had to pause so that everyone could laugh for like a solid 3 minutes. It was amazing.
That's really the highlight of this.
It's really good. The fight continues, and the blooper starts to grow tentacles out of its tentacles until it's just surrounded by a tentacle forest. Things are going badly, and then boom, flashback.
Oh man, I hate it when my tentacles grow tentacles.
You see that all the girls are actually artificially created test tube babies. I assume designed specifically to pilot the mech suits, ? Definitely Evil Commander talks about how they have to make sure to keep the girls subservient, because if they ever realize their full potential, they could one day surpass humans, which, just like everything else in this OVA, will go absolutely nowhere.
Something misogyny?
Something maybe.
This scene was so jarring to me, because there's like a flashback scene around here, and it takes place in a fucking, like, high school classroom?
Yeah, the very next scene, it's still in a flashback, but it's love interest girl and generic boy man in a high school classroom. I assume after she's freshly been test tubed, you can see that they start to develop feelings for each other, which includes a bit where love interest girl says that she doesn't want to follow orders unless they're from him, to which this oblivious motherfucker completely doesn't get the hint whatsoever.
But why a classroom? Because we find out that these girls were created as adults, and the main guy is, like, working at a company. Why the fuck did they put it in a classroom other than, visual novel?
Well, yeah, it is based on a visual novel, so I assume the high school classroom setting is part of the draw, but also, I assume you could argue that even test tube babies need to learn things.
But would you have a whole facility, like a whole schoolroom and, like, school built for 5 people?
Maybe maybe in the actual game itself, they're, like, going to a real normal human school as, like,
Maybe?
undercover or something, you know, for socializing. I don't fucking know. It's a bad anime.
Oh, she also calls him Oni-san in that scene, and it feels really weird and gross.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. That's from a different girl who I don't think we ever learn her name. I don't know why she calls him Big Brother. It does make some weird implications for the rest of them, though.
Because, like, they're bioengineered, hypothetically. Why the fuck would you have a concept of brother? That doesn't seem relevant to the operation.
I don't want to think about the implications, because all of them are bad.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Back to the fight. Generic boy man is like, fuck this, I'm just gonna crash my jet into the blooper, which causes love interest girl to grab him with her mech and go, I love you, so I'm gonna do the self-sacrifice. By the way, the whole time this is all happening, the background music sounds like someone is playing Metroid Prime. The remaining girls all make their mechs grow wings, which actually looks kind of cool, and rush the blooper, with one of them pulling out this fuck-huge katana and just cutting a giant hole in the side of it, which sounds really awesome. I promise you it isn't. It all looks really, really bad.
Holy shit. I think I laughed when she pulled out the katana. Because it feels so out of place.
Where did you get that? I don't think you had that initially. Where did that come from? Now, legitimately, I had to watch this next part like 4 times to understand what was happening. By this point, my brain would always be glazing over whatever was going on.
I had that same experience.
But the girls fly inside the blooper and start talking to it telepathically, with the blooper being like, humans suck and I want to kill them, and love interest girl responding, most humans suck, but some of them are cool, so I'ma kill you instead. And she pulls out a Gatling gun and I guess shoots the blooper's soul, which causes it to explode from the inside out. Now, according to a plot synopsis I found online, because again, I could barely tell what was happening, all of the girls are dead now.
Yeah.
Generic boy man is blamed for it and gets fired, even though they did. It shows their crumpled up mech suits and a lot of blood. Yeah, all of the girls are dead now. Generic boy man is blamed for it and gets fired, even though they did manage to defeat the blooper, and then cut to a year later.
There's one girl who survived. There's one girl who survives in critical condition, and you see her, like, on, like, what do you call it?
Gurney.
On a stretcher. Oh, I wanted to say gurney, but I wasn't sure if that was the right word. Yeah, you see her on a gurney.
I think it might be the same thing. See, I thought about that, but according to that plot synopsis, I found all of them died, so I don't know. Maybe she dies in the hospital in the game, and we just don't get to see that part in the OVA. I don't fucking know.
There's too many fucking cuts.
Anyway, cut to a year later, and a bunch more bloopers show up, and then the OVA cuts to credits. Although, there is a part that made me really mad at the very end, because it is the, like, 1 year later jump cut, and then cuts to a news reporter being like, the same mysterious entity that appeared years ago, a couple more have appeared. He says, specifically in the subtitles, he says, a couple, and then it cuts to a shot of, like, 15 of them. Bitch, do you know what a couple is?
Oh, I wasn't paying attention to that. That's funny.
God, this is going to be the shortest Weeb Years episode of all time, because that's it. That's the OVA. It's done. No retro views.
Oh, there's no retro views? You couldn't find any?
No. Well, here's the thing. I could find them, but barely anyone has bothered to review this, and obviously everyone agrees that it sucks. We're not going to get anything interesting out of people just saying it's bad and terrible. The most noteworthy thing is that recently people have been jokingly giving it glowing reviews on Mal as a goof.
Oh, that's funny.
It is. It's really funny. I desperately want everyone to go watch this travesty, especially with a bunch of friends. It is so fucking funny how inept it is.
Oh
Again,
my God.
I showed this to like 3 different friend groups over Discord. I didn't have to do it, but it was the fucking best. It was so funny.
This would be the perfect thing to play as a drinking game.
Oh God. This would be the perfect way to kill yourself with a drinking game.
20 minutes! Even if you go, like, a little too hard, it's only 20 minutes long. How much can you drink in fucking 20 minutes.
And then technically when you take out the ending, the OP, and the 65-second long establishing shot before the OP, it's really more like 13 minutes.
Yeah.
There is a part of me that wishes we had saved this for later in the life of the podcast. I don't really know what for. Maybe like an April Fool's Day episode or something, like if we had planned a little bit better. But there's also a part where I'm glad we've gotten it over with, because now we really truly do know that it's only uphill from here. No matter how bad something is that we watch from now on, we know definitively and quantifiably it will never be as bad as Tenkuu Danzai Skelter+Heaven.
That's sad.
For Skelter+Heaven?
No, for me, I love watching terrible shit.
Oh, we'll watch plenty of bad things. Apparently we're doing Mars of Destruction now at some point.
Yeah, that'll probably be a good revisit to this. I don't think we do it for April Fool's Day, though. We have way too many good April Fool's concepts.
Oh yeah, no, it's gonna be great. Can't wait. I don't know. Do you have anything left you want to say?
I have a couple final thoughts. I gave this actually 2 stars out of 10, which is a bit generous, but, like, to me, good media is evocative, and I've never felt so little watching something as I did watching this.
Yeah.
It's like watching the second half of a music video of an artist you don't care about.
That is incredibly specific.
My other final thought was that this is worse than Garzy's Wing. Garzy's Wing is a way better thing to watch at a party. Have you seen Garzy's Wing?
Not yet. I know of it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Like, even in terms of so bad it's good, there's more entertaining things. This is just nothing. It's like you made a feast, but all of the food is carved out of ice. There's nothing there. There's no calories.
You are giving us much more interesting imagery than the entire OVA did.
That's because I'm a better writer.
Yeah.
I could write this better than that motherfucker did.
I usually try not to be that person who's like, oh, I could do a better job, but objectively we could both do a better job. We'd probably still do badly, but it'd be better than this. Now, amusingly, the entire reason we ended up doing this in the first place is that recently I was going through our library of what we've done so far, and I realized, oh, like, aside from Akikon, pretty much everything we've watched so far has been good. Like, the worst we've had is maybe something that's just okay. And so I thought to myself, like, you know, we should really endeavor to watch more bad things. So, quite literally, we asked for this.
Yeah.
And we're going to continue to ask for it. Dear listener, in the comments of wherever you're listening to or watching this, if you would please suggest to us what you think is the worst anime you have ever seen. We already have a huge spreadsheet of ideas of things that we want to cover at one point or another, but I feel like too many of them are good. Please, we implore you, terrible anime, terrible manga, tell us your most hated thing you've ever sat through so that we have more garbage to sit through with you.
Can I ask you what you think the worst thing you've seen is?
In terms of like anime and manga?
Yeah, and I'm opening this up. This can be from any era. It doesn't have to be within our time frame.
I was gonna say, the one that comes to mind, it's certainly nothing to the level of this, but the first thing that comes to mind is an anime from like 2019 called Kokoku, which that one just made me mad because it was the poster child of wasted potential. It started off really cool, but then every episode it just got worse and worse and worse until I gave up on it. So that one was bad because it was disappointing.
Yeah.
I think in terms of like what is bad just from the ground up, like what is just poorly made in all aspects, probably Akikon, actually. I think Akikon really took the cake for me.
I think for me, it's hard to pick just one. I've watched so much bad anime. I watched a few episodes of Pupa while that was airing. That's one of the ones that's pretty notorious for being a terrible anime. That was 2016, I think. And I got further than I probably should have because I was just like, I don't want to drop any anime this season.
Yeah, you have that weird mentality of yours.
Yeah, I want to finish stuff that I started. I don't know, it makes me feel like I'm accomplishing something.
Happy Sugar Life. That's another really bad one.
I haven't heard of that one.
Oh, that was a trip. Can you tell that we're just padding for time because we're already done talking about the terrible over again? Here's the thing. For some reason, like we learned about this thing months ago because again, it was back when we did Akikon. For some reason, when I wrote it in our little spreadsheet of episode ideas, I marked it down as a movie. And so when I decided, oh, let's cover Skelter+Heaven this episode, I thought it was going to be movie length. length. I didn't realize it was only 18 fucking minutes, so this is my fault.
I honestly welcome shorter episodes like this because it means we get more time to yap about anime as a whole. I was also going to ask, what interesting concepts do you think this OVA put forth and then never delivered that you'd like to see in a different show or manga or what have you?
I mean, the only thing that really comes to mind in terms of a remotely interesting concept was that thing that they were almost setting up where it's like, oh, we have to make sure these artificial girls stay subservient, otherwise they could overtake us because they have so much potential. Like, there's definitely some stuff out there that's done something interesting with that concept.
Yeah, and I know you were saying about, like, the way that the 3D and the 2D intersect in some ways is really good. Other ways it's not. I should clarify that for the audience. The CGI in this looks like ass.
There's a shot early on in the OVA where you see like a military jet flying towards the blooper, and I remember thinking, oh, I'm playing Ace Combat 2 now.
God. I just think, how bland must the visual novel be?
Again, I looked up a Let's Play on YouTube. It seems pretty bland.
If this was the supercut of all the most interesting stuff and it was still this, I don't know. I'd be interested if it ever gets like a fan translation.
There was the teeniest, tiniest little moment where I thought to myself, oh, it'd be funny for us to stream this as like a bit if we could find an English fan translation of the visual novel. But immediately I was like, no, the joke would stop being funny within like half an hour.
Yeah. I mean, I think you underestimate me and how much joy I get out of terrible media.
We're not doing... I'm putting my foot down. We are not streaming Skelter+Heaven. Literally the only other interesting little trivia bit of consequence that I could possibly find about this. For some reason, I saw some sources referring to it as Tenkuu Danzai Skelter+Heaven instead of Tenkuu Danzai. Can't figure out what that's about, but that's about the most interesting final note that I can have for it.
I wonder what the difference in translation would be.
I don't know. We're ending this podcast on a wet fart, just like how the OVA ends. I think thematically that is appropriate. But yes, please go watch Tenkuu Danzai Skelter+Heaven with all of your friends. You will have a fantastic time.
I mean, the one great thing about it is that it's a really bad piece of media that is pretty inoffensive.
Yeah, I will. That is one thing I guess I can put in its favor, question mark. Based on the character designs, I was really expecting it to be hornier, and aside from the weird, accidentally horny sex chair, it's really pretty tame in that respect.
Like, it's very easy to digest and watch with people. You're not going to have to worry about accidentally triggering a common trigger.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if you'd like to watch us suffer even more, you can always find us on Weebiers at... Wait, I said that backwards. On Blue Sky at Weebiers.
And if you'd like to send in a listener question, give suggestions, tell us what other terrible anime to watch, give us feedback, we have a mailbox, theweebiers@gmail.com. If you enjoyed this, we're glad somebody did.
I feel like the way that we should end this is suddenly and unexpectedly like the show does.